kids, this is Pulsewave Vision come to you live from Cuatro Cinco Studios, my mom's basement. And I'm here with another chapter of Rings of Dust, chapter 9. Let's put myself down here in the corner. We'll pull this up. If you guys want to read the entire book without waiting for me, or have AI read it to you with a more consistent cadence, then you can go to t.me/anti-gravity saga, which is our Telegram. And here in the pinned messages, you'll see the link to the GitHub book right here, Rings of Dust. You'll also see a link to the playlist as well. So you can watch these in order on YouTube at your convenience. So check both of those out, and we'll just jump right into this chapter 9, Rings of Dust, Marcus. Rachel walked Emily into the building without speaking, through the lobby, into an elevator, 3 floors up, then into a long, dark hallway that ran in both directions. Already I got some notes here for you. All right. A cheerful fat Buddha statue sat underlit at each end. Small, warm lights shone sharply downward from the ceiling in focused beams, leaving the walls in dark. The carpet was thick enough to eat their footsteps. The air smelled like furniture polish and money, the kind of clean that required a staff. 2 men in dark suits peeled off the wall as they entered, one ahead, one behind. They did not announce themselves. They did not look at Emily. That was the point. At the end of the hall, a large set of double wooden doors stood, decorated with brass hardware and long, polished bar handles. Rachel gripped one, breathed, and pushed forward. The guards took up positions outside the doors. Emily noted the placement without turning, flanking the exit, not the entrance. The room was wide and dim, the kind of dim that came from choosing not to turn on half the lights. Floor-to-ceiling windows pulled cloud and sky into far walls. Along both sides, a dozen televisions ran newsfeed and sports scores at ambient volume. On one screen, a news anchor sat composed at her desk. Emily looked at her, then at Rachel. Rachel's color shifted slightly, and Emily filed that away. Rachel had been on every Alpha Corp broadcast Emily had ever seen. The polished voice that made the managed shortage sound like an engineering problem rather than a decision. Someone made and kept making. The polished voice that made the managed shortage sound like an engineering problem rather than a decision someone had made and kept making. She appeared at Marcus's events. She echoed his framing. To all appearances, she was one more instrument in his orchestra. The man was kicked back in a swivel chair with his feet on the wide mahogany desk, posture of someone who had designed this impression. A glass of orange juice sat at the desk's corner. 4 ice cubes. Emily counted them without meaning to. The room smelled like leather and citrus. The orange juice, fresh, the only thing in the space that hadn't been there for years. He got to his feet. Emily Nova. He moved toward her with the wide, unhurried stride of a man who'd never once been made to hurry. I'm Marcus Furgold. She knew that face. Not from files, from a specific afternoon. Cole, with a bloody lip, and this boy's knee on his chest. Her grabbing the collar and putting him on the ground in front of his friends. He had looked up from the dirt like he genuinely could not believe what had just happened to him. She had not given him time to decide what to do. He had grown up. The dirt was better carpet now. The dirt was better carpeted now. She had spent 15 years in a classroom teaching teenagers to break complex things into parts they could hold. I kicked your ass before, Emily said. Beware that I will do it again. Something moved behind Marx's eyes. Not embarrassment. The quiet recalibration of someone whose assessment has just been revised upward by a measurable amount. You have a good memory, he said. He settled back onto the edge of the desk and looked at her with the unhurried attention of a man who had nowhere else to be. Sit down. I'd rather stand. He studied her a moment. He looked at Rachel, who stood near the doors with her face arranged carefully toward the middle distance. You were in Las Vegas, Marcus said. You and Sharon. Sharon's name in his mouth, with the same flat weight as Las Vegas and Conrad, as if Sharon were a coordinate, not a person. Not someone who'd been taken from an empty lot 3 days ago while Emily was 3 states away and not there. Emily did not move. You met with Stephen Conrad. He gave you something. He turned toward her fully. I want to know what it was. I don't know what you're talking about. The keychain, Marcus said. Small plastic figurine, the Enterprise. You held it. You drove it to Cole's cabin, put it in his hands. His voice had the quality of a man reading from a list he'd memorized a long time ago. What's inside it? She thought about the hollow case, the hollow base, Conrad's specific instruction, calm and level. It has to reach Cole's hands. He must hold it. She thought that was sentiment. She had thought Conrad was being theatrical about a trinket. She genuinely did not know. He farts in his sleep and he's 2 months late on the phone bill, and he has an unhealthy relationship with a 6-armed monkey that drinks hand sanitizer. I don't know anything about a keychain. Marcus looked at her with the expression of a man who was neither amused nor annoyed, simply cataloging. She could see him cataloging her. She could see him cataloging her in a way she'd seen boys catalog insects, something clinical behind the charm, something that was not, or had never been, interested in what she felt. She turned to the desk. A few finger taps on the glass surface inlaid in it. The banks of screens on the walls changed. Emily recognized it immediately. The encrypted drive, the research archive she and Sharon had been handed in Vegas, the file structure, the visual signature of the export format, the specific documentation of things that were not supposed to exist. She recognized all of it. She had put this in the hands of people who needed it. It was already where it was supposed to be. Marcus was showing it to her like a card. We expected this through certain channels, he said. It found other channels. Contingency plans were made. He glanced at her. You recognize it? I've never seen that in my life. No. And she understood he did not mean, I don't believe you. He meant, that's the right answer. And I haven't decided yet if it's a true one. He was filing it separately from what he thought she knew. He moved to the window. The clouds moved behind him. The Golden Dawn launched 12 days ago, he said. Harvest sequence underway. The last major raw crystal batch coming off Saturn's rings. The one that changes the market permanently. If it arrives intact. Just 1 second. If it arrives intact, he paused. There is a vessel considerably larger than the Golden Dawn that has been pacing Cole's course since he crossed the inner belt. Cole doesn't know it's there. He reached past her and brought up a registration on the nearest screen. Fed Hex 5555. No assigned crew in any public fleet record. No mission brief in any Federation log she'd ever been given clearance to read. She read, What was there in 2 seconds? It wasn't much. The room changed. Not the room, her position in it. The calculation restructured itself around a single fixed point. What do you want? She said. What Conrad gave you. What he told you and Sharon in the hotel room. That you haven't told anyone. He came away from the window. That is the piece I don't have. And until I have it, I can't tell you what happens to that mission when the larger vessel makes its move. The room was very quiet. Emily thought about Cole at 9, looking up at her from the dirt. She thought about Sharon's hand across the table in Vegas. She thought about Sharon in that empty lot, the edge of the city, and the message that came afterward, and the specific quality of a grief that hadn't been allowed to land yet because there had been too many miles to drive, too many things to do. And now she was standing in this room and the grief was still waiting, and she was still not done. She thought, the only way to help him is to get it out of this room. I don't know what was on the keychain, she said. I handed it to Cole, and I drove away. Conrad didn't explain it to me. All right, Marcus watched her for a long moment. I believe the keychain part, he said. The rest of it, I'm reserving on judgment on. He moved back to the desk. You're more useful to me as a question mark than as a problem. So you're going to walk out of here tonight. He held out a small card. Plain, no logo, a number printed on one side. If anything comes back to you about what Conrad gave you, about what he built, about any of it, there's a number. Emily looked at it. She took the card. Miss Vase will see you out. After the doors had closed and the elevator had engaged, the sound of footsteps on tile had faded from the corridor. Put one on before she reaches the street, Marcus said. The small one. She won't feel it. The man standing in the far corner of the room, not the guards, the other one, the one who had been there before Emily arrived, nodded once and moved towards the secondary exit. Marcus sat back down. He picked up the orange juice. He looked at the screens, still lit with contents of the drive, and he thought about Conrad, a man he had underestimated twice and did not intend to underestimate a third time. He thought about what a careful man builds into a children's toy when he knows someone might come looking. He drank the juice. The ice was already melting. His father had said it in 1991, and Marcus kept the line the way some men kept a watch. Not to use it, just to know it was there. Klaus Vergold had made the observation with the measured calm of a man who spent 2 decades making something true before saying it out loud. The Federation is crawling with my employees. It had not been a boast. It had been an inventory. Marcus thought about the response time from the vessel he had not named in the room. Still there, still moving. In the elevator, Rachel held her face toward the floor numbers. The elevator hummed. The floors counted themselves down the display above the door. Neither of them breathed at normal volume. Her eyes moved once towards the security camera mounted in the upper corner. Careful, she said. We gotta write down a note here about the feet on the tile floor right here. So 189. You remember when they came in, the carpet was thick enough to eat their footsteps, and now it's saying that they're hearing footsteps. inconsistency. Careful. Emily took the hint. She ran it through her mind the way you do when you're still inside something and need to be precise about what it is. Marcus Gold had not made threats because he did not need to. The Federation's budget was Alpha Corp's money. Routed properly, spent the right priorities, disguised as public policy. The conscription order that had reached Cole and been signed by a Federation Chancellor and written by Alpha Corp. The Federation was not an institution that Marcus had corrupted at the top. It was an instrument. Real scientists, real astros, real research, and at the top levels, entirely captured. You could mistake this for influence. It was something older than that. The parking garage was cold, echoed everything, their footsteps, the distant clank of a gate closing somewhere below, the hollow sound of concrete that has never been warm. Emily slipped the card behind the potted plant on the landing without breaking stride. She understood what it was. She did not believe she knew anything. Oh, he did not believe she knew anything, believed it enough to let her walk, but he wanted a thread. She was not going to be that thread. She turned to Rachel. A taxi was pulling into the garage entrance. What is Marcus going to do to Cole? Rachel's face held nothing. Nothing happened, she said quietly. For both of us, nothing happened. Ellie felt something that was not quite disgust, more the exhaustion of having been in a room with a man who understood the price of everything and had very deliberately not paid it. Nothing happened, she said. She got in the taxi. 1,100 miles south of Federation airspace. Emily had her head against the window of a cab and her eyes closed. The cab smelled like pine air freshener and old coffee. She'd been awake for 31 hours, and on the road, under the tires, was a rhythm she could almost follow, but not quite, and the almost following of it kept dragging her toward the edge. She jerked wide awake, and her head slid on the glass. The city lights were behind them. She could see the highway and the dark on either side of the yellow dividing lines running past in the steady pulse. She had seen this before. The yellow lines in the dark. She had pressed her palm against the window to wake herself up further. And the other hand was holding a number Rachel had given her in the parking garage, a handwritten sequence on the back of the Virgold Media parking receipt. Not Rachel's number. Rachel had been very clear about that. Someone will answer. Tell them where you are and where you're going. She dialed it. It rang twice. Go ahead, the woman's voice, not Rachel's, measured, unhurried, with the settled quality of someone accustomed to receiving information at odd hours. This is Emily Nova, Emily said. Her voice came out rougher than she expected. I'm in a taxi. I was told to call this number when I was clear. A brief pause. We know who you are. Are you clear of Virgold? Yes. All right. Another pause. Not uncertainty, the pause of someone consulting something. Keep heading east. Someone will meet you on the road. You'll know them when you see them. How? You'll know. The voice shifted slightly. Not warmer exactly, but more direct. Are you all right, Miss Nova? Emily looked out the window. The yellow lines kept coming. The dark kept holding its position on either side. She thought about the empty lot, the look on Sharon's face when she had said go, the specific economy of it, the way it meant every version of go at once. She thought about the sound she had not been able to unhear in the hours since. She thought about her brother somewhere past Saturn's rings. Past Saturn's rings? It's kind of dumb. All right. Out of reach. She thought about her brother somewhere out of reach, carrying a mission that someone had designed to detonate, and she was the only person moving toward him from this side. And she was in the back of a taxi she had paid for with a traceable card, and she'd been awake for 31 hours, and she had said the wrong thing in Marcus's office, and she didn't know yet what it had cost. She thought about what the question actually was, not protocol. The voice had shifted, the quiet register of someone who had heard something in Emily's voice that Emily had not put there on purpose, something that had come through in the gaps of being awake too long and too alone. Are you all right? She was not. Nothing was. Sharon was dead, and Cole didn't know it yet, and Marcus knew which direction she was running. And she was alone in the specific way that was not solitude, not quiet, not private, but the kind of alone that arrives when you run out of people to call, and the ones you had are gone or unreachable, or both. She thought about what she had said to Marcus in his office. The thing she had said without thinking. The thing she'd known the moment it left her mouth was a mistake. Cole's heart is going to break when he hears about Sharon. I don't know yet, she said. The line closed. Emily leaned her head back against the seat. She watched the highway. She kept her eyes open this time, watching the yellow lines come and go in the dark, and did not let herself drift. So here she's staying awake again, even though she's in a taxi. And I feel like that operator should say, you got this. Or some sort of encouraging message. Is it just hanging up? All right. Alpha 2, FedEx 5555. Progress report. Asset modification. Subject Tease S. Day 14. Pre-deployment. The primary augmentation is complete. Right side chassis integration held. Integration was delayed 48 hours due to sustained subject resonance. Prolonged resistance at this stage is atypical. Dr. Hexo has noted it is an anomaly. Cognitive coherence maintained at approximately 63% in baseline assessment, 12% above projection. External visual prosthetic operation, enhanced tracking, range proximity 3 times standard. Dr. Hexo's final note before signing off on augmentation phase. Subject remained oriented throughout, maintained a repeated verbal anchor, the same 2 phrases, spoken quietly. When integrated stress was highest, we have logged them. They appear to be a message to someone rather specific rather than a general distress. Subject believes the recipient will receive them. She is probably wrong about that. Subject was kept oriented so she could be deployed as weapon. The remaining orientation, the coherence Dr. Hexo noted, is anomalous is a side effect. Recommended deployment within 48 hours of the Golden Dawn's arrival in Saturn orbital approach. Approved. Station Commander Holt. Dr. Hexo, final annotation. The augmentation bay smells like antiseptic and overworked metal. After day 4, there was a third smell I could not attribute to the equipment. The ventilation system handles the clinical waste. It does not handle everything. The augmentation bay was good light. Has good light, surgical grade. You can see everything clearly. I have been seeing everything clearly for 2 weeks. She asked me at one point what I was doing this for. I told her it was contractual. She looked at me for a long time and said, "That's not what I asked." I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks. I'm still thinking about it. Side note from Station Commander Holt. Dr. Hexo's ongoing commentary on the subject is noted and requested to cease. All right, so that's the end of chapter 9. You've got Dr. Hexo working on a female with the last name T's first initial S, building a weaponized cybernetic robot inside of this vessel, Hex, FedHex 5555. Wonder what's going on there. All right, so that being said, if you guys want to know more about the crypto project that is combined with this novel and this art, go to agproject.io, connect any wallet that's EVM compatible or Ethereum compatible, and you can play this on Pulse Chain and get some darker matter tokens. You can mint your own fuel cells and join the collective and fight against Alpha Corp getting 51% control of the power grid. The Telegram, again, is t.me/antigravity saga. Check that out. Got a couple of comments here. We got Red Squirrel in the house. What's up? What's up? We've got CryptoCap46. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, good times. We have that new wrap that I've added to videos for the live streams. But we will catch you on the next one, and we will go out here on one of Red Squirrel's visualizations, actually, right here. All right. See you guys.